Welcome, everyone, to episode 58 of Hammer Time, the only home in the entire world dedicated to the Pittsburgh Maulers. Of course, I'm joined by Alex, my co-host. How are you, Alex?
Doing great, Webb. You got to get me that intro music from a ringtone.
Yeah. All right. And then the man of the hour is Tre'Quan Dorsey, offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Maulers. How are you?
I'm doing well. Grateful to be here.
We had to get you on, man, because you're the first USFL draft pick ever to be drafted out of college and then signed with the Maulers. What was that experience like, getting that call from the Maulers?
So it was honestly very, very humbling because I was actually doing construction. I was doing demolition the day of the draft because of COVID, I was blessed with another year of football. So I finished that December and I was home working, still got to pay bills and all that. And I had gotten a call from former general manager Lonnie Young telling me that I gotten drafted.
That's awesome. What went into it about like signing in camp? Like, what was that experience like getting to be, you come from a small school and to be paid professionally to play football at the second highest level, in my opinion, in the professional ranks. What was that like?
It was a huge change because I mean at that point now you're looking at it as in like being a college kid. This is now business. It's your job. Going into that, it was, of course, being on their own. I mean, the teammates definitely were comforted me and it definitely helped me out during those times. But like I said, the biggest thing was taking it away. Like you're not doing homework anymore, and now you're actually getting paid to play. You got to take it more serious, separating your personal life from your job. You get what I'm saying?
I do. What was it like sharing a locker room with guys like Reuben Foster and Boogie Robert? Like, you've got giant personalities, and you're just a college kid. Like you said, you're doing homework 6 months ago, and now you're with guys that you kind of grew up watching. Like you were young while they're in college. What was it like sharing a locker room with them?
I ain't gonna lie. At first, it was intimidating because I didn't know what to expect. And me as a person, I've always been expect the worst. I mean, be prepared for the worst, be ready to go at any time. So, I mean, with that mindset, it was a lot easier coming in, especially because how warm the teammates were when I first got there. Like they were friendly right off the bat, and that definitely helped a lot. And people like Boogie, Olive, and Will and Ruben, they were all friendly. Those are all my guys.
So you obviously in practice you're going against them the entire time. Who's the biggest trash talker out of them?
Surprisingly, I gotta go with Big O, Olive. Like him and Will. When you go at it and go back and forth and all that, you start hearing them chirping. I'm like, hey, look, now it's different when they're actually the real deal and back it up, because then now you gotta meet it with action.
That's crazy because if I was a betting man out of Will, Boogie, Olive, Terry Beckner, like. Olive might have been 4 on my power rankings for who's the biggest trash talker.
You'd be surprised based off his comfort level. If he's coming with you, yeah, he's gonna talk.
Well, a bunch of them made like Boogie got a bunch of them to make a happy birthday video for me and everything, and like all of them had like the background set up or whatever. Olive was in bed, like so laid back. He like had no shirt on, had he's got the personality now. For you to say he's a trash talker, it just blows my mind. Of course, now he's a general, so that's fun.
Because he's slick with it, though.
He's slick.
Yeah, he'll come out to you directly, but at the same time, it's like when you least expect it, you hear him say something, you're like, wait, you just say that? Then you get that look.
So you joined the team in training camp. You guys started a little slow. You're on the offensive side of the ball, the side that is kind of getting the finger pointed at publicly. What was it like as an offensive line unit when you're going through those struggles?
Well, I mean, first of all, getting introduced to the USFL, the fans, they definitely are there, and they do show their frustration. Definitely grateful for them though, because they do come out and support. Starting out, it was a little rough seeing that the games I played, we didn't do so well at, and actually getting the injury against the New Jersey Generals definitely set me back. But at the same time, with my mindset and the teammates and all that stuff, we were always close. Like we always going to do something together. If we need help, like they're not scared. Even like when it was during camp and competition, I mean, they weren't going to sit there and not help you. I mean, as a unit, you got to work together. It takes all 5, right? So like they were all helpful at the same time, even during camp.
And then you guys you went through transition. You had Terry Poole signed during it, Leon Johnson, and now you've got free agents. The offensive line. 2024 offensive line going to take a giant step forward? Yes or no?
Yes. And I think that's just because of the competition coming in. It makes you want to work. You got to love competition. I mean, running away doesn't do you no good.
Describe the last game of the year. You're a small school guy, right? There's kind of a big I was there on the sideline. Alex was in the stands. It kind of had like a great there's a great feel to the field. The fans were kind of rowdy. It felt like a Pittsburgh home game for the most of the game.
Yeah.
Describe that atmosphere for you.
Man, that's actually crazy because walking out into that stadium and seeing everybody and how everything was looking, I was like, because I had previously that December I had won a conference championship, and we were all the way up in Massachusetts, and it was pretty big, but compared to a FCS, being from a small FCS school and then going to the Canton Hall of Fame Stadium, like it was like such a surreal, like I had to like soak it in. It's definitely a blessing.
That's awesome. Alex, you got anything on the Maulers?
Yeah, a little bit about you talked about it takes all five on the offensive line. And, one of the things that Webb and I discussed, a couple of months ago when we were looking and talking about you specifically is your versatility on the offensive line and your willingness to play multiple positions. Can you maybe take us back a little bit to the positions you played at St. Francis and then sort of your mindset behind, proving your versatility at the professional level by playing different positions?
Well, I mean, I'll first start out by taking it as far back as junior college, because junior college, high school, I was a right tackle, majority my whole time there, D tackle, right tackle. As I transitioned into junior college, it was different because then I had to switch to interior. And last time I played interior line was probably my freshman year of high school. Mm-hmm. Definitely was a change. I was looking to be a true freshman. Unfortunately, I had a hand injury, set me back until later that year. And it was quite different because that same year I had lost 70 pounds. I mean, the JUCO lifestyle, it was. I went from I want to say I got there out of high school I was 325. I got there at 312. By the end of that spring year, I was 240. Wow! I tell you, like if you hit up Coach Duda and Coach Pardini, they'll tell you I'm like a technician. They say like technique is everything. Because my first year and a half, it was very difficult. I mean, you could pull me, and I'm going to the ground. It was like a guarantee. And it's just something switched when it came down to it. Was like, I mean, like my last year, they got it to where I was going to graduate early, and I was going to end up going to either any school that had offered me. And after I was told that, it was a different mindset I had gotten. So I was like, oh, I'm not comfortable playing left guard, right guard. I'm not strong enough. I can't gain weight. And after that, it was just aggression, being physical, like believing in yourself. It's not the cockiness, it's the confidence you got to have. So, I mean, I went out there, ended up being third string, and ended up being in rotation as a sixth lineman for them. And during the bowl game, I told the coach I was going to come back. And during that time, he had made me go back out to left tackle. And that was 2 years at Lackawanna. I was doing guard, and I was doing decently at the second half of that year. And then switching back to left tackle, I just felt more comfortable. It was like more space. I could do what I want. It's still physical and all that stuff. And ended up playing left tackle. I was 240 until I went to St. Francis. I went to St. Francis at 257. You should have saw my O-line's coach's face. It was different. So I went over there. I ended up playing left tackle that whole time there. I did do some guard reps. I would take center snaps during pre-practice. At first, it was a joking around type mindset, but someone always told me in my head, like, 6'3" playing tackle. I mean, if you want to go somewhere for, I mean, the average is what, 6'6", 6'5"? Yeah. Football world, I'm short, especially at the tackle position. So, like, I knew I had to prepare myself for playing interior. And I want to give credit out to my O-line coach from high school, Coach Donnie Smith. He actually trained me for, like, I kid you not, 2 months before going out there, I was told that I was going to be playing guard and center as well. So those 2 months, I trained my butt off for those positions, not knowing what was going to happen. And he got me right. I ended up going up there 305. Weighed in, I think 310 doing that scaling there. So I got my way back up. It was just the resources. I mean, never really had the resources growing up, but you take advantage of what you got.
6'3", 310 is a nice size center.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I actually left the Maulers 329 and I got myself right back to 300. I mean, don't be fooled. I shaved the beard and look a little slim. I'm 300, still pushing it.
That's good. Was it, so help me real quick too, and then I'll kick it back to Webb. Was it just the training table and the access to nutrition and facilities at Lackawanna? Was it maybe where it needed to be that caused? I mean, that's, to me, 70 pounds is dramatic.
I'm gonna tell you about it. So my first semester, I think it lasted 2 semesters, that full year actually. You got $1,500 for your meal plan for the semester. I want to say it was 1,500. Might have been 12, but I'm gonna say 15. And that's 3 meals a day. And then you're guaranteed a breakfast and dinner. But if you have night classes, 3-hour night classes, you're going to miss dinner. I mean, it's just like that. So most players are going through their meal plan in like 2.5 months. Me being a freshman, I mean, I didn't really grow up in the best household. My mom's single mom. I got 4 older sisters and younger brothers. So like it wasn't anything not natural to me, but it was getting, at first, I'm like, the food is good. Like I'm getting food as much as I want. When I lost it, I lived off of chicken flavored ramen noodles and PB&Js and working out 3 times a day. So it was, man, and I couldn't sit out anymore. I sat out the first half for like 3 months. So yeah, well, after that, you're on your own basically.
That makes sense. Another question for you too, and I think a lot of maybe fans or folks who, I was never an offensive lineman, never played my hand in the ground, even though I did go back home and I saw one of my old coaches when I put on some weight and he said I was eating my way into a 3-point stance.
You get used to those kind of jokes.
Quite had to think that, but could you tell me a little bit about the nuances between like maybe the footwork between playing left tackle and right tackle? Like, you'll talk to some guys up front and they'll say, I feel really comfortable with left tackle, but when they flip me over to right, I don't feel as good. Maybe provide some insight into like, what would cause that? Because you'd think left tackle, right tackle would translate to many of the same things, but your perspective on that.
Well, I mean, for me, I mean, I'm more of a realistic person. So like I see it as like based off of your comfortability and how you perform in there. So like I played right tackle all through high school and I thought I was pretty average at it. Lack technique. When I started learning technique and going to left tackle, I found it was a lot more easier based off of my dominant hand. Because, as a tackle, the what side to beat is getting beat is inside. And as being a righty and all that stuff, I felt like I had more power to, go against that. So like based off comfortability. I mean, I do prefer the left side. However, being athletic, definitely like blessed me to play. I can play both sides, but I ain't gonna lie. Left, the blind side, gotta love it. It's just more challenging.
That's where that money is too, buddy. They pay those left tackles the big bucks to protect those quarterbacks.
Exactly.
All right, Tre'Quan, you ready to drop the hammer?
Yeah.
All right. It's a little bit outside of football, but we're going to start with college football. Today's December 3rd. This will be released later in the week. I want your take on the college football playoff, your top 4.
My top 4, you got to go Michigan on 1. 2, I think Texas, the way they've been scoring offensively, I mean, it's very hard to stop that. I got them at 2. Especially with them beating Bama and the score it was with that game beginning of the season, you got to go with them at 2. Bama 3, and I ain't gonna lie, I think they were a little prejudiced against Florida State because I think their defense did play lights out, and me personally, I got Florida State at 4. I mean, Washington is a great team. Do not get me wrong, but based off of personnel and styles of offense, it's just like SEC. I mean, you gotta play the run in the pass. And if you're looking at like, I think would be good games, I think those 4 would be the good matchups.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. There's no way you can leave out Washington. That's my thing because they beat Oregon twice.
And I felt bad doing it, but like it's like Bama, the way they came back, especially that Auburn game.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Well, you say you can't leave out Washington, but what's the difference with Florida State? We won't turn this into a college football show, but I mean, to your point, Tre'Quan, Florida State won every game on their schedule. They played two SEC teams. They played Florida. They played LSU, beat them both handily. Yeah. They won all their games. They did everything they could possibly do. The ACC is a power conference, and you get passed for 2 one-loss teams, Texas and Alabama. Mm-hmm. I'm having a hard time if I'm in that FSU locker room tonight.
As a player going through that mindset, like I mean, you think about it like you did all what you were supposed to do. I mean, you're undefeated. I mean, you got the big wins you needed to get. And I mean, some things like I've always been the type of person control what you can control. Like right. In that aspect, I mean, I don't know how that feels, but at the same time, I definitely would be heartbroken.
You brought up a good point too about their defense. Well, it'd be hard to leave out Washington too, but you brought up a good point about FSU's defense. FSU may be getting penalized. Webb mentioned it too for being down to their 13 quarterback, and on style points alone, that was an ugly game last night. But you could also look at it and say Florida State's complete team. They went out and beat Louisville, who's no chump, and beat them with a third-team quarterback. Used defense, used a completely old school offense to win that game. So you could make an argument either. Sorry, didn't mean to get on the college football.
But you got real quick though. But you got to give Washington credit because at the end of the day, there's always that stigma of they can't Pac-12 can't keep up with the SEC and all that stuff. But at the same time, like if you can score and control the clock, I mean, what more can you do in that aspect? And Washington has showed they could score.
Yeah, I wouldn't have left Washington out. I think Washington deserves to be there. I would have left out either Texas or cover your ears, Webb, Alabama. But I guess you can't leave out an SEC champ.
Well, so. I mean, if that's the case, then I got to leave out Alabama just because of Texas and what they did.
They just stopped a 29-game winning streak. Like they just stopped the most like dynastic team that we've seen in a couple years.
That is the thing for me because I was like, watching the game, I'm like, man, Georgia is a fourth-quarter team. I'm like, how can they respond with that? Do you hold on to the ball? Do you score, give them a chance to come back and score again? I mean, the way they did it, I mean, defensively, I'm like, you got to give it to Alabama. They fought that.
And we have to talk about it because next year we'll be talking about the 11th and 12th team. So it's not going to be as fun as it is right now. Favorite sport outside football?
Basketball. My brother, he was a track star in high school. However, he eats, sleep, breathe basketball. Like I used to when I was living with him, I go in the room, he'd be knocked out, and you see YouTube with hooping and all that stuff. I actually play with them Wednesdays and Sundays. However, I'm a football player. I know my role with that.
Who's your favorite NBA team?
NBA team, the Washington Wizards.
Okay. All right.
Look, they've been on a slump, but look, at the end of the day, I mean. It's a marathon, not a race. So hopefully, within the next couple of years, they get everything together.
There you go. We're making a movie about your life. Who's starring as Tre'Quan Dorsey?
Who's starring as Tre'Quan Dorsey? Man, I don't know. Not everybody can beat me. That's a hard thought. You gotta pick the right one. I ain't gonna lie. If I got somebody to do it, I'm choosing Ice Cube son.
Okay. That works.
A little darker, and we're right there.
I got it. You mentioned about eating. You're an offensive lineman. I always ask the offense and defensive lineman, your go-to meal and who's making it.
Cheeseburger, hands down. I ain't gonna lie to you. Fun fact: there's a restaurant called Fuddruckers. Every time I go there, I gotta get a pound cheeseburger. Extra fries. And if anybody's making it, it's my mom. My mom. Every time it's good. It's nothing like her cooking.
It works. And you're controlling the music in the locker room. What are we listening to?
I ain't gonna lie. The last few months, I've been more diverse with what I choose. However, if I'm thinking in a locker room that I don't get judged, especially by the guys in there, like Will and them, I'm probably going to do either No Cap or NBA Youngboy. But NBA Youngboy, you got to go with the little softer tone. I can't go with the too crazy ones.
All right. Alex, you want to ask him a question? Go for it.
Pittsburgh trivia question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Give him a little
right.
bit. He spent time in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
So he's got to know at least one of them.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to know the Pitt Panthers then. Let's try this one.
Yeah, man, y'all gonna be surprised.
This is a good one. You have a teammate that played at the University of Pittsburgh, is second all time in Pitt Panther football scoring. He's a current Pittsburgh Mauler. Who is that teammate? Think opportunities to score.
He's a kicker.
You got it. You're the first one ever to get it.
He's actually from my area.
Oh, okay.
Fairfax. It's my guy. He went to,
Number 7.
Blew it.
Yes.
Blew it.
There you go. $100, Webb. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the trivia question. I was going to ask you how the Red Flash of St. Francis got their nickname. And what's the name of St. Francis's stadium up there in Loretto? It's the something bowl, right?
They used to talk about it. I actually haven't. When I've been there, we never had it. I really wanted a night game about it. It's the
It's like something bowl.
Oh, my head coach Valero is going to be mad at me for that because he sat down and told me about it. Oh man,
that was a really neat place.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Something about St. Francis, and the reason why I chose that out of junior college is because of the area and the people that goes there, especially the coaching staff. Like, they're gonna make sure that you're good. I mean, if you fail, it's basically on you type mentality, especially with them. Like, you got to try hard to fail over there, especially. And I got to give them their credits because they always looked out for me while I was there.
There's some good schools in that Northeast Conference, some good academic schools in the Northeast Conference as well, too. I remember last year, I gave you a shout out on one of the very first shows I was on when we were talking about you and St. Francis. Took Akron to overtime last year out at Akron in the season opener.
You don't understand how I was feeling going into that bubble for doing practice with the Maulers, and I'm like, man, I don't want it still hurt going over there. That year I gained all my weight back, and one of the dudes said 53. He said, "You got a girdle on, get in a treadmill." I was like, oh man, I wanted that one bad just based off of that. That was a very close game, man.
It's good. Well, St. Francis controlled that game for a great part of the game too. But another question for you, a little off topic, but related to the Maulers. Two questions. One of your teammates was on and said you guys did a lot of bonding this year and sort of the culture of the team, well documented on this show. One of the activities your teammate mentioned was bowling. Did you ever get a chance to participate in any of the Mauler bowling events?
No, and I'm not going to lie to you. It's a hit or miss with me. My uncle has like 4 personal bowling balls he got that he goes out and he goes in. He strikes out every time. And me, it's like a cold and a hot day. So like, I haven't been. I really wanted to, but look, I'm locked in for that one. Y'all gonna have me start training for that too.
Okay. I heard there's some good bowlers on this team that can go over 200, and then I heard there's some lousy bowlers too. So I was just curious if you'd had a chance.
I'll say I'll be over 130, but I can't be. I'm honest. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'd give you over 130 at least.
I'd take 130 on a good day for me. I stink at bowling.
I'll get it at minimum. And then my biggest thing is like trash talk. If you trash talk, that drives me. So like, hey, trash talk if you want. Another thing we like doing was Madden. Oh man, my boy Eli Walker. Maybe help me to go at it.
Who's your team on Madden?
Oh, Madden. My go-to is Ravens, of course. I gotta have a quarterback that can move out the pocket.
Fair enough. Cheat code, Lamar. I got you.
Lamar, or I'm gonna go with the Giants and pray that we can run the ball. Okay.
So I usually like to ask, we have a lot of young viewers that watch the show. In particular, I'm thinking about one young viewer who's a emerging offensive lineman in South Carolina, big kid. His dad was a football player in college as well, watches the show religiously. If you had to say something to him in terms of like 8th grade, 9th grade offensive lineman, what advice would you give a young offensive lineman getting ready to move into high school, and maybe hopefully one day being a Tre'Quan Dorsey and getting paid to play?
If there's one thing I got, when it comes to people telling you what you can and can't do, man, be hard-headed. If you got that dream and you know you're gonna put that time in to do it. Do it. Work at it. I've been said no multiple times, especially as a kid. But one thing that kept me going was with my supporters and my mindset. So if there's anything I can give somebody, a young athlete, keep going, but trust the process. It's not going to come overnight.
That's great advice. I should probably listen to that myself and heed some of that.
Hey man, discipline is the biggest thing you got to work on every day. Discipline. It's hard, but hey.
Yeah, it's about stacking good days. It's stacking good days, getting better. The road to success is always under construction. And as soon as you think you got it figured out, somebody just blew right past you. So what's the old saying? If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
You ain't got to be ready. Exactly.
That's right. That's
My coach always said, we like airplanes, not roller coasters, because, roller coaster goes up, down, airplane steady rises. And I've always took that into this, especially when I'm talking to people that, especially to seek advice, especially when I need to remind myself of that. I mean, you're not going to have the best days, but always find something that 1% to get better at. And it's definitely been helping me, especially being out of college now.
Absolutely. Find something positive each day. I have bad days, some days at work. I can't get out of my own way, and I might just clean up my desk at the end of the day. So at least I can say I accomplished one thing, and I can stack something positive off of that. Just find something positive out of it. But listen, after your football career, I think you have a career in broadcasting, man.
You think so? They told me
on that screen,
communications. I got a bachelor's in psychology and a double minor in social work and education. I do want to pursue in outpatient therapy. However, I always wanted to do communications. I always wanted to do that.
Well, I think you're perfect for it, for sure. I mean, yeah, I was telling one of your other teammates, they told me I had a face for radio. So, I just like to get on here and talk ball with my favorite team. I absolutely love you guys. Webb and I talk about it a lot, but the Maulers are my professional team. I followed you guys last year. This year was beyond special, and be able to join Webb on the show and to get a chance to meet you guys and talk to you guys, coaches and players. What a special bunch, and it's just reaffirmed love for you guys.
And I want to thank you guys because especially when you guys first found out I was on the team and all that stuff, you guys reaching out and all that stuff, you guys continue to look out. I really do appreciate that and the support, man. I keep that thing going. You guys definitely got my support.
Man, you're in the history books for the rest of the eternity because the USFL first collegiate draft pick that signed with the team. So you're historical, man.
Hey man, the next goal was playing all 10 games and going to the NFL. That's the dream. We're gonna try to reach it.
There you go. So we've reached the end zone. It's kind of your way to promote your supporters, shout outs, anything you're working on yourself, your social media presence, whatever you want to do, the floor is yours.
I want to give a shout out to my family, especially my mom, because I haven't really been on the podcast or got an interview and all that. So I do appreciate you guys' time. But somebody like my mom, she had kidney disease for 14 years, and with 6 kids, she always found time to do stuff for us. And at the end of the day, being back home, I'm grateful because I can be around her and all that stuff. I just want to give her a shout out, let her know that I love her and I'm proud of her for creating great kids. Honestly, all of us, because one thing about us, when it comes to family, we don't turn ahead.
That's a real hero right there, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Well,
thank you, Tre'Quan, for joining us. Hope to see you in 2024.
Yes, sir.
Wherever it is. And you've got a fan in. I know Alex is on board here, but you got fans for life here. Thank you.
Of course. Look, hey, I'm keeping the schedule. I'm going to see y'all in Cannes, all right?
Let's do it.
All right. We'll go to Cannes. All right, this has been Hammer Time.
Of course.